This alarm clock has sent Stickman flying across the room every single morning for a year. Today, he's finally fighting back. A year ago, Stickman bought a cheap alarm clock from a mysterious yard sale. The seller warned him, "This one's got a bit of an attitude." Stickman laughed it off. "It's just a clock. How bad can it be?" That night, he placed it on his nightstand and went to sleep peacefully. At exactly 7 a.m., the alarm rang, and then it happened. A tiny mechanical arm shot out and smacked him right in the face. Stickman fell straight out of bed, stunned. He stared at the clock in disbelief. "Did you just hit me?" The clock just ticked innocently as if nothing happened. Stickman convinced himself it was just a one-time glitch. The next morning, the arm shot out again, this time slapping his cheek. He rubbed his cheek, confused and a little annoyed. By the third morning, the clock added a spinning motion for extra effect. Stickman went flying clean off the bed, landing with a thud. Desperate, Stickman asked his neighbor for advice. The neighbor suggested just throw the thing away. But Stickman refused. "No, I paid actual money for this thing." He decided instead to simply outsmart the clock. His first strategy was building a pillow shield around his face. That morning, the alarm rang as usual, but this time the arm simply grew longer, reaching right over the pillows. Stickman got smacked anyway, pillows and all. Strategy 1 failed completely. Next, Stickman tried simply unplugging the clock before bed. He slept peacefully, confident he had finally won. At exactly 7 a.m., the unplugged clock rang anyway. Stickman shot up in bed. That's not even possible. The arm smacked him one more time, just for good measure. Stickman decided to sleep on the couch instead, far from the bedroom. He smiled smugly. "There's no way it can reach me here." At 7 a.m. sharp, he heard tiny footsteps approaching. The clock had grown legs overnight, and it had found him. Stickman screamed and fell off the couch in surprise. Every strategy had failed, and Stickman was running out of ideas. He started dreading nighttime altogether. His friends noticed the bruises and asked what was going on. Stickman explained the whole situation, sounding utterly defeated. His friends simply said, "Maybe you need to respect the clock." Confused, Stickman asked, "Respect? It's a clock, not a person." His friend shrugged. "Just try being nice to it. Worst case, nothing changes." That night, Stickman awkwardly greeted the clock before bed. He said, "Good evening, clock. Sleep well, I guess." The next morning, the alarm rang at its usual volume. Stickman braced himself, eyes squeezed shut, waiting for impact. But this time, nothing happened. He opened his eyes slowly. The clock just sat there quietly. Stickman blinked in disbelief. Wait, being nice actually worked? Encouraged, Stickman kept talking to the clock every night. He told it about his day, his worries, even his silly dreams. Slowly, the mornings became gentler, softer, almost friendly. Stickman started actually looking forward to waking up. He even gave the clock a little nickname, Ticky. One evening, Stickman forgot to say goodnight, rushing off to sleep. The next morning, the mechanical arm shot out once again. Stickman went flying off the bed, right back to square one. He groaned. "Oh, come on, one missed good night and we're back here?" Stickman realized the relationship needed consistency, not just one good night. He apologized sincerely. "Sorry, Ticky, I'll do better." He started a nightly routine, a small chat, every single night, without fail. Slowly, trust began rebuilding between them. After weeks of consistency, Stickman decided to test something bold. He asked the clock to wake him up extra early for a big morning hike. The next morning, the clock rang gently, right on time. Stickman woke up refreshed, completely unharmed. He smiled. "We're actually a team now." Stickman excitedly told his friends about his newfound alarm clock harmony. They didn't believe him. That thing, the one that used to attack you? Stickman invited them over for a morning demonstration. The friends gathered around the bed the next morning, watching curiously. The clock rang softly, right on schedule, with no aggression at all. Stickman woke up peacefully, sitting up with a satisfied grin. The friends were stunned into silence. One of them whispered, "How did you tame that thing?" Stickman smiled proudly. Kindness, just plain kindness. Word spread through the neighborhood about Stickman's alarm clock breakthrough. Other people with troublesome alarm clocks started asking him for advice. Stickman happily shared his simple secret with everyone who asked. He became known around town as the Alarm Clock Whisperer. Months passed, and Stickman's mornings remained peaceful and gentle. He no longer feared the sound of the alarm at all. In fact, he looked forward to their little morning chats. The bruises were long gone, replaced by a calm, steady routine. One morning, Stickman decided to test his old habits just for laughs. He forgot to say goodnight on purpose, curious what would happen. The next morning, right on cue, the mechanical arm shot out. Stickman went flying across the room, just like the very first day. He landed with a thud, laughing uncontrollably on the floor. He looked at the clock and said, "Yeah, fair enough, I deserved that." He got up, dusted himself off, and gave the clock a gentle pat. He said, "Some relationships just need a little reminder now and then." From that day on, he never skipped a good night again, and the clock, in turn, never sent him flying again. Well, almost never, because deep down, both of them secretly enjoyed the occasional chaos. That night, Stickman climbed into bed, smiling at his unlikely friend. He whispered, "Good night, Ticky. See you at 7." The clock ticked quietly, almost as if it was smiling back. And so their strange little friendship continued, morning after morning. Sometimes gentle, sometimes chaotic, but always, always honest. Because in the end, that's what real friendship looks like. A little chaos, a little kindness, and a lot of consistency. Stickman never did throw that clock away. Instead, it became the most trusted thing in his entire house. And every single morning, without fail, it woke him up gently. Unless, of course, he forgot to say goodnight. In which case, well, you already know what happens. And honestly, at this point, he wouldn't have it any other way. Because every good story needs a little bit of chaos, and this one certainly had plenty of it. From flying across rooms to peaceful mornings. Quite the journey. This has been the story of Stickman and his unforgettable alarm clock. Remember, sometimes the things that fight us the hardest just need a little kindness. See you in the next story. Good night, and don't forget to say good night to your own clock, too.